I'm ready. Good morning, everybody. If it looks like it is bright and early, it is because it is bright and early. It's tough to track this man down. And I thought I would just welcome you to the D-Root takeover of the Enhanced Physio vlogcast is what we're calling it now. What I thought this week is let's slow it down, and I want to find out a little bit more about the man behind the brand. He is a product of Westerford High School, a master's graduate. He claims he's from Kenwyn. There's a whole list here that I've written down, but yeah, Mail and Guardian, top 200 young South Africans, all around good guy and one of the hardest working people I know. So Nick, let's get straight into it. And tell me just in a short paragraph, what motivates you to keep going, keep waking up every day? I mean, we chat a lot, and you're always on the go. Where do you get the energy from, and what motivates you to keep plugging ahead?
I think at different phases of my life, different things, I suppose. But I think the overarching theme is that I know my parents sacrificed a lot for us to have education opportunities and all that sort of stuff. And ultimately, there's no plan B. I'm not going to tap out of physio and go live on my parents' small holding in an estate or something like that and just, do a podcast permanently. Unfortunately, these things don't pay the bills. So yeah, there's no safety net. There's no plan B. So in light of that, I've got to do it. And then the other thing is it's just like a mentality that anything worth doing is worth doing to like the absolute 100%. Why do something? And it's not even about competing with others. It's about, doing it to the best of my ability. Can I learn something more about being a physio? Can I learn how to speak better? Can I learn how to do business better? And can I just keep growing, keep evolving? I think that's what really keeps me doing what I'm doing. I think I've also learned a little bit of balance, though, to be honest, Drew, and sort of set the terms up to do it in my own way. So okay, I want to be able to have the time to do a project like this with you, so at least my schedule allows it. I'm meeting up with a friend of ours for also just like a catch up and an interesting conversation coffee wise, and I want to make sure that I can have that in my schedule. I want to go watch Livy have a swimming class later in the week. So you know what I mean, setting it up all on my own terms and knowing that I am doing it like that also keeps me motivated to keep going.
Is that something that you feel like you've always had? I mean, for all of us that have known Peasy for a while, we know you from the DJing days, from the music days. It feels like you've always kind of been a mogul with what you've kind of been involved in. But when did that change? I mean, we mustn't all sit here and pretend like you've never gone skinny dipping or anything like that. I've been there for those younger days. Where was the change? Do you feel like there was a change, or did it just happen organically?
I think for most people, this like thing is always inside. I mean, maybe just express it or use it in different ways. And then I suppose when you become a professional, I think even me and you have known each other for a long time. So from like early university all the way through to now, obviously. So I'd say I had a job working in like a retail store in Access Park, selling this brand, ironically, and now it's one of our partners. But from there, like doing odd bits and bobs, and then obviously DJing, and I kind of just had to keep myself going from like a pocket money, or put in petrol, buy textbooks type of thing. And I don't know, you can call it a hustle, you can call it whatever you want, but I think when once you kind of, okay, now you've got this piece of paper, you're a graduate, we spent the first year together. I think that was also like quite a formative year. And then I think after that, both of us sort of, okay, cool. We've had our fun. We've worked at the gym together for all these years. We've had the adventures during our concert. Okay, now it's time to get serious. And we both flew off into the world. You went to Gauteng, I went to KZN, and yeah, our paths unfolded.
Beautiful. And like you say, we have known each other for a long time, and I think it's a beautiful segue into the next section, which maybe is a little bit more serious. We've worked together. Obviously, we've lived together for over 2 years, and we've been lucky that our personal and sort of business relationship have kind of coexisted very nicely. What do you think are the perils of working with friends? I know a lot of young graduates coming into the market now will kind of use their colleagues and their close friends and say, let's take over this physio game, like I know a lot of people have. Have you learned anything from some of the relationships that you have maybe strained during business, and what lessons have you kind of taken from that?
That is a top question. You've obviously prepared for today.
Sometimes I do.
You know what? I've thought about this a lot, and I don't think it's as easy as a blanket statement to say you can work with friends or you can't work with friends, right? I think it's a people thing, okay? And I think you need to know the people really well that you are. Well, if you're working with them, it's okay. You don't need to know them or screen them that well. But if you're working with them closely, or you're depending on them, or they're inside your business or life, I think then you really need to make sure that you take a bit of time to get the right people, etc., etc. So even though, and I think I know why you asked me that, but to explain to everybody else, I've been burnt working with the wrong people, and probably trying to bring people along the way that maybe it wasn't in, maybe they weren't the right people, for one. Maybe it was the wrong approach to try and keep opening doors for other people, because if I just kept on going, maybe I'd gravitate to the point where I've got a good team around me like I do now. So I don't know, it's a hard one, but I'd say it's a people thing. And I've seen the ugly side of people who work with you on a day-to-day basis, but like exhibit habits and behaviors of envy. And you can see that little like micro expression on their face that looks like they're chewing glass when you share something that's good happening. You're like, okay, well, that's a bit weird. Or then you hear sort of like odd comments, and you kind of piece it together over time, but you also like, I don't want to believe it. This person's a good person, etc., etc. And then years down the line, the paw hits the fan, and you have, I'm sure we'll do a separate podcast for that whole debacle that I've just been through, but it's mainly kind of almost make this blanket statement that the minute I get that bad feeling, we're done. Like, obviously contractually set it up so that everybody's got options and it's fair and blah, blah, blah. But the minute I get that bad feeling, I'm out. And I've had a situation recently where we've actually decided to work with one less person at our center because it just wasn't the right fit. So we'd rather have the space vacant, just use the space communally, pay for the space rather than have the wrong person there. And I think that's probably a decision that I should have made a while ago, but you live and you learn. So at least I'm learning, reflecting and making the hard choices now. But yeah, it's a tough one, and not everybody's happy for you. Not everybody wants to clap when you win. I probably got a lot more support from people when I was like on the come up, like 2017, just opened a practice, putting out all these like blog posts and stuff, and built my website on Wix, and everybody, oh, it's cool. And then a couple of things start going your way, and now all of a sudden a lot of the people are just nowhere to be found, or pop up when they want stuff.
Always, yeah. I think you raise a good point there with having one less practitioner at your practice. I can't remember who said it, but I heard it on one of the other prominent podcasts. I'd rather have a hole than an asshole. So that's a good take-home message, I think, to sum up your whole speech there.
I'm writing that one down.
Another thing I took from you there is just finding the right people. And as someone that, I think there are definitely steps to this game, and it's a step that you've definitely taken that I haven't yet, and that's obviously managing people and bringing some of the youngsters in. And you've always been an advocate for networking, and we'll come back to the networking. But when you identify a new person, I know you from years back, like you say, and you pick up a lot of these people from, say, Instagram, and you connect with them. What do you look for, and how do you find and know that you're going to be bringing the right person in? I know you've got Dayan and is it CJ at the moment? And how do you find these people, and what kind of are your first impressions? What do you look for?
So firstly, you make it sound a little bit creepy, like I trawl through Instagram looking for young professionals.
Well, you do.
I think that's just a byproduct of trying to authentically kind of do my own thing. But it's just ironically, this book is right here. I promise you I didn't place this. So reading this book at the moment kind of talks about when you take the time to figure out your message and your values as a business and person and how you want to operate, and then kind of approach and set that up, go down that road. You tend to kind of gravitate or open doors or open interactions where you can meet sort of the right type of people along the way, if you are willing to keep your eyes open and put yourself out there and connect with people. So I think building an online platform was a good thing, because and a lot of people said I wasted my time doing that, but I beg to differ. We'll see. It's allowed me to connect with a lot of young graduates, and I think from there and doing some work with like fourth years at universities leaving, and then doing some of the EduPro CPD stuff about what's happening in the business and just applying my mind to the situation. And then we realized that it's like there are a lot of really high quality clinicians entering the workplace, and I think Kaylee and Diane are definitely two of them. And the sad reality is that there are too many people, and a lot of the good ones even will fall through the cracks because there's not enough opportunities for them. And I think about this problem a lot, but it's definitely twofold. Okay, so one, we say in private practice we haven't built the right business models to allow them to kind of grow and progress, etc. But on the other hand, there's also like generational behavioral like characteristics that for example, make it like we say people team up and try and take over physio, whatever. But in reality, you've only been graduated for 1 year. It's probably not the right time to do that. If you take like older people's advice, you should probably go find the best practice you could work at and work at for there and learn the industry, learn your craft first before you try and like sell your craft at a premium and compete with everybody that's been doing it for like 20 plus years. So yeah, I think building a platform helped me to connect with people. And what I look for is cheapers. I don't want to give away my secret sauce here, but I invite people to come spend time and look at the practice. And that's the first thing. A lot of people will message and say, oh, this is cool, I want to connect. And then they never follow through. So that's the first filter. Like many people are interested, few are full follow through. Okay. Of the few that follow through, and I've also had the situation where you get some that you can see are like, like they like it, but they kind of like, this might be a bit of hard work. I'm going to just do my own version of this thing somewhere else. And okay, cool. And they fall through the cracks. But yeah, people, the good ones, I think, take initiative. You can see they're passionate. And probably the biggest thing that I look for, try and cultivate, because I think it was a game changer for myself, because I wasn't like this when I was first employed. I mean, we thought we just knew everything. The Kanye West can't tell me nothing song.
Yeah.
It could have been a theme song at one point. But people that are just
still know
open and
everything.
willing, we still know everything, but people that are willing to like learn and like take on constructive criticism or build a relationship where you can have hard conversations because it's for both of your benefit, for the business, for my benefit, and for their benefit. So yeah, hardworking, people that take initiative, people that are willing to grow. That's kind of it. The physio skills, weirdly enough, my old boss told me this: physio skills, you can teach people to be better clinicians, but you can't teach people to be better people. So you first want to make sure you get good people. And I think that's something that I've just stuck with.
Okay, cool. I think we want to obviously explore the business, and there's a lot more I want to ask you, but I also want to ask you more on like the human level. So moving forward, like let's talk social media first. Is social media this platform that you said that you've built, and how many followers do we have now on Instagram?
Yeah, off the top of my head, we're still under 10K. I was aiming for the elusive 10K, but who knows if I'll actually get there. But something else that I've learned is that it probably doesn't matter. The
I
smallest
know.
viable market, and my viable
I mean,
market's probably a lot less than, probably less than 5,000.
and you always think like, what am I putting this stuff on Instagram? And I know you do your mobility Mondays, and it's things that you've
Yeah.
been doing for a long time. And I know maybe sometimes you think, flip, who's this even reaching? Are people even watching this? And I know you go check, but I was telling you, I was having that conversation with Lee the other day, and we kind of talk about Nick in a circle of people, and they're like, oh, well, who's Nick? Oh, Enhanced. And then they all know Enhanced. So it is reaching. And I just want you to know, just keep doing your thing from a guy with 800 followers.
Thank you.
I want you to keep going with your 9,000 or
True.
10,000.
The crazy thing about that as a platform is like, you know what, I've changed my metric as well, because obviously you look at view, well, just take Instagram, you look at views, for example, and maybe comments, engagements, messages thereafter. Okay. But what I've actually found is more of a currency is, even if you just use a story function, just the amount of like eyes that you get on it is actually the currency that you should be measuring. You should just be measuring the attention, not necessarily the engagement, etc., etc. And that's what you're saying. I think there's points where I probably get despondent and I say, like, you know, who's it reaching? There's no point, etc., etc. But then in the backstory, you meet someone like, oh, I follow your stuff, and then you kind of like, do you really? Because I don't see you popping up on the comments, the messages, all that sort of stuff. But again, when you switch your framework to the currency is really just attention, or you know, like a brand presence, you know, for people to always see, wow, these guys are always doing something, these guys are always working, these guys are always helping people, these guys are just doubling down on their signposting their values, blah, blah, blah. And I think that the other crazy thing, Drew, and this is the flaw with like physio. Okay, so you open up Nicholas Pereira Physio. If I open up Nicholas Pereira Physio on Instagram, what would that page look like compared to what my page is like now? Right, then you are like in a hole where you only one person, you know, Kaylee Johnson or Deanne Solomon can't, like, it's weird if I work for Nicholas Pereira Physio, you know, why would they want to own a piece or be a part of that, right? Versus, okay, I work at Enhanced Physiotherapy, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So immediately you're on the back foot where you're in the small little box. Then you brand yourself and social media, like market yourself as just one person in one location. What is the point of having a social media page if that's your online presence? If you're a single person in C Point, you only work in C Point, right? You might as well just hand out flyers at the robot, you know, or wear your work uniform around the shopping malls and just hand out business cards, hoping people trip, rather than have a social media page, because you're defined by like two really like non-changeable things. And I think that's like the paradox that people don't get past. And look at who has been successful before. Often people in the older model, people that have centers attached. So you look at people in Joburg, and it's groups of clinicians that operate in a center, and I want to come to the center. But what is the real reason? Well, it's because it's bigger than just one person. You know what I mean? The center is so powerful that I'll go see this person that works there because if they're in this place, it's legit. I'll go see someone that works here because if they're in this group, they're probably legit, because I see the brand, I'm aware of it subconsciously. I participate in the currency, which is attention. Yeah, it's a paradox. And I think a lot of people just go straight for the boring old trap, and then it doesn't work out so well. And then, you know, oh, physio is bad. No, you probably just didn't think outside the box enough.
Could those people benefit from an infographic on ITB pain? I know that's a bit of an inside joke. I know we always, but like you say, those people in Sea Point, and no disrespect to the people in Sea Point, lovely area, but those are the people with a one woman band. They've just graduated, and now what everybody needs is a infographic on ITB pain, and then we don't hear from them for another 4 or 5 months. And I think what you've just said now is something that I don't even think a lot of us think about. We just want to be, you know, Insta famous, and we just need to realize, what are we? And I think it comes back to your first principles. What are you trying to do, and why are you trying to do it? If you're trying to drive clients, then go on the corner and get it out that way, because you're going to reach your target market a lot more efficiently than trying to take the long way around and become Insta famous first. This leads me on to my next.
Sorry, yeah, go for it. No,
No,
I was just saying,
no.
Like you said, you got to think, what's the point of and a lot of people just think having a social media page is marketing. Not really. Like, again, going back to this book, and go read it yourself. But again, I'll recommend the book, right? And I'll tell you all the answers inside there, and then no one will go read it. But that's exactly the problem. Like, the information, everything, it's not that we lack resources, it's that we lack the time or the thought to go do the hard things. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah, but I mean, no disrespect, but if you're trying to, let's keep on the Sea Point example, the one-man band in Sea Point, or one-woman band in Sea Point, right? We're creating infographics about ITB, okay? Just hoping that someone on the internet or social media sees this and, oh, I've got ITB. Like, just, if that's what you think is going to get people through the door, then yeah, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Bobonati, some might say.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough seeds. I don't even know what to advise that person. I would say go spend money on a website rather. Go spend money on, like, you know, making your practice look really great. Go out into your community and, you know, educate people for free first, and maybe that'll flow. You know, go to running clubs, or I don't know. There's a lot more things you could do than sit at home reading a infographic on Canva, hoping that this the one thing causes people to come, and then when it doesn't, you get despondent with physio as a profession.
And it is cack getting out of your comfort zone, going to golf clubs, going to running clubs, going to old age homes to do talks. It's just something that you really have to do, and time put in there, and doing talks at running events. It's time put in there is going to be a lot more worth your buck.
Absolutely. And we've just got to change the framework there as well, that it's like, it's not always going to lead back to rands in your pockets right now. So maybe it's just experience, or maybe it's just meeting people, you know what I mean? Change the metric. It's Comrades coming up this weekend in KZN, and someone was asking me, oh, if I do like the you know, like the race tent or whatever, am I going to get paid to do that? I was like, why would you, who's dishing out money for doing that? Because maybe then I would have done a few more as well. But you get to meet people, you get to like see weird presentations of like people, you know, in race mode having injuries. You get to meet other physios, you get to meet other practice owners potentially. Like, it's so much more than who's going to pay me to be there. And if that's, maybe that is the predominating mindset these days, but we've got to broaden the lens a little bit. Otherwise, you're always going to come up short, because it's not all rands and cents immediately. Sorry, move on to the next question.
I think that's something you fantastic with, is looking at the bigger picture. And I mean, one of my questions was, tell me something that you've done that didn't necessarily result in money straight away. And we can think of the mobility project that you did with Maritzburg College, and 2-3 years later you actually picked up the contract. So that's like a long 3-year kind of turnaround for that, something that you did for free. I mean, I know that about you. Now that you are more successful, almost 10,000 subscribers on Instagram, viral. Does your point of doing something for future payback change now? For example, let's go back to this Comrades example. Would you still pitch an enhanced physiotherapy gazebo there and be willing to do it for nothing for potential increase in your clients, or has that changed now that you more successful running 2 practices, 2 sports teams, a whole conglomerate of physiotherapy services?
Do you know what? I'm literally having a meeting with my team about this morning, or after we finish chatting. But the thing is to answer your question in short, if that was the market that we were trying to get into, then 100%. If it ticked all the boxes, then it makes sense for us. But I think what I've done really well is that I know exactly who our market is, and we just double down and serve those people. I'm not really fleeting and chasing all sorts of different things. I'm getting one wheel to move in the right direction, if that makes sense. Since we're on Comrades, a lot of people are super busy in this week, and people, so example, someone's phoned and like, hey, do you guys do strapping on Saturday because Comrades is on Sunday? Okay, we've barely got any clients just in the practice or in the outpatients part of the practice. It's not a big portion of our overall population, right? And we kind of decide, okay, should we open up on Saturday and do strapping? And then the thought immediately comes, is that our market? Even if we pick up one or two of those people after the race, is that who has traditionally been our market, and who do we want to be our market in future? No. So you know what? We actually refer that to someone who that is their market. And I think that's something that also makes us a little bit different. I know what I do, but I also know what my colleagues are doing and what they're good at and what they like to do. So let me rather send that person to someone who that is their main audience. You know what I mean? So just knowing what works for us and what we need to do. I'd rather go set up a gazebo at under 14 rugby festival at one of our schools and do, I don't know, let people do foam rolling and recovery and all sorts of other stuff at no cost, just as a get ourselves out there, serve our community type of thing, than try and just jump into a new market. And because it takes time, like you said, the whole that mobility project thing, maybe we do Comrades this year, and my goal is for in 10 years time to be the endurance physio practice of my area. And cool, maybe it starts with this one there, but is that something that I want to do? And if so, am I willing to put the time over 10 years? Those are all the questions that need to be boxes that need to be ticked.
I think that's so interesting. I think it comes back to what you want to do, and it just shows how calculated everything is. I think us as physios, it's very difficult because we want as many patients as we can, because we know X amount of patients equals X amount of rands, and we'll kind of chase every last patient, even if that doesn't kind of agree with our not our brand, but know who our target market is. And I think
absolutely
that is something that you do so well. So I think that's just should be a take-home message for everyone as well. Like I said, let's get away from the business stuff as well, and let's kind of talk about energy and like self-development as well. I think as someone, we've also gymmed together, we've both tried to hit the 100 kg mark and felt quite horrible at bulking and eating all kinds of bologna and stuff. Let's talk about what do you do? What is your routine? I know you're a busy man. What is your routine to kind of keep high on energy? And I know obviously health is now more important than aesthetics, but you have been someone that has obviously cut down quite a lot. What is your routine right now? And what do you look for from, say, a workout and a diet to keep you buzzing?
I think it changes. What's changed in like the last year and a bit since Livy's been born. And you probably feeling the same way, where like with Arthur, you don't have the same amount of like time to do all the extra things that you wanted to do per se. So that changed a little bit. But some of the things that I'm doing, let me talk about like right now. The old stuff, I'm pretty sure there's enough information somewhere on the internet that you can go read up the old stuff. But at the moment, something I'm thinking about is delaying my caffeine in the morning. So this thing that I've been drinking is a tea, not a
some hoity-toity tea from the Himalayan monks or something. I'm sure.
Absolutely. So delaying my caffeine and then managing my caffeine intake during the day, because I think sometimes we just hammer through how many coffees, and if you think everyone's like 200 milligrams, you've had this before, that like jitteriness or like the scattiness, like you're already thinking of a million things during the day. Now you go add like caffeine that makes you even a little bit more skittish. So that's something that I'm trying to be a bit more intentional with. My other toolkit of stuff is, again, didn't place this at all, but I do a lot of like I try to do a bit of journaling and kind of get my thoughts out there, so I can reflect on these sort of things. Why did I do X, Y, and Z, and get to the root of it? Am I actually was I scared, and that's why I reacted the way that I did? And if I didn't enjoy that, how do I change it in future? It probably makes you overthink. You can overthink a lot of things in life, but again, trying to figure out what's important to focus on and what's going to move the needle for me as a person, or as a dad, husband, professional, etc. What else? Training at the moment, I'm doing CrossFit 3 days a week, and I'm trying to run on the alternate days. I'm doing like a 2 week like deload at the moment, and deload is basically a code word for I'm too lazy to, or it's been too cold to do all of my sessions. So I've got a 2 week sort of like taper because I've had about 2 months of getting back into the swing of things. And then at the end of next week, I'll hopefully go full taps again. But yeah, exercise early in the morning seems to work well for me. I seem to do quite well with like high intensity resistance training, which is like typically CrossFit style of things. And then I mix it up with some running on my own, which I'm also enjoying the running, but again, nothing crazy, probably up to about the 5, 7, 10K distance and nothing more. I've got no plans on doing races in the future. I might do something to participate like the spring or summer, but really not really aiming to go hammer anything. But again, because of a time constraint, it's hard to go do 2-hour runs on the weekend preparing for like a half marathon. Like I got through one of those last year, but yeah, the time commitment is quite hectic. So yeah, I guess that's it. I do a little bit of intermittent fasting. We've always chatted about this. I've just managed to kind of keep it as a lifestyle choice for me. So I got up, I had black tea, probably won't eat until like 11 or 12 today. And it's just things that kind of keep me going, keep my energy levels in the right sort of space. Try not to have too much processed food, cut down on my alcohol a fair amount. I definitely still do drink, but not as often, or when I do in small quantities. And yeah, sort of like softer drinks, not necessarily like I don't know, hardtack, as they say. But yeah, like these are maybe just things that work for me, because I felt like those sort of stuff like affect my sleep, and obviously sleep is a commodity when you're a parent. So
Sure.
yeah, trying to optimize and get all those things right so I can be as functional as possible.
People that complain about sleep that don't have a child, I just say, just wait, because at least you have control over you trying to watch the last episode of Breaking Bad or whatever. You must go to sleep. I get woken up every 3 hours, whether I like it or not. I think that's good advice. We've routinely spoken about our supplement stacks when we were obviously bulking and things like that. Talk to me about what you're taking now in terms of obviously sports supplements, but also just in terms of vitamins. Is there any weird and wonderful things you're taking at the moment?
I've been trying to tell people about, I don't know if I ever told you about brain fuel. Remember I used to take that thing to help me study? People are like, someone asked me, like, is that Ritalin? I said, no, it's like a herbal thing over the counter. Like it's not
the same thing
crazy.
They say about steroids, man.
It's herbal.
It's over the counter.
Yeah, so I take, it's got like rose extract, rhodiola rose extract, and ginkgo, and all those other like B vitamins, whatever. I promise you, it gets me sharp. So that, I don't take brain food, but I take a similar product called Mentat. So there's that. On the vitamin front, I've always been a big vitamin guy. It's like a lot of arguments about, you just, weed out and what's fat soluble, water soluble, blah, blah, blah. Even if it gives me like a 2%, I'll take my chances with the 2%. Supplements have probably become less of a supplement than like my cupboard used to be full of every intra-workout and BCAAs and this
multiple brands
protein and this
nighttime protein,
everything. And I think probably trying to get it from food has been the biggest thing. And sorting out my food and like timing and quality of food that I'm eating has really made a big difference to that. But then kind of sticking with like basic stuff. So like the standards: creatine monohydrate, whey protein. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I'm trying a caffeine-free pre-workout just because it's a struggle if you've woken up 2 or 3 times in the night to go train at 5 a.m. But yeah.
Do you notice anything from that? I'm on a supplement free because of my mental health issues, epilepsy. I'm trying the supplement free. I mean, yeah, is it called stimulant free? The Kush from USA. I don't really feel.
That's what,
but I don't really feel much.
well. Yeah, it's debatable. It's probably, I probably feel better on that than I did with the coffee, just personal preference. And then I feel I enjoy like coming back and then having been up for like an hour, well, like maybe 2 hours or so, then I can get my coffee when I get back from the gym or
Okay.
training. So I probably enjoy that a little bit more. Sorry, Drew, I don't know if you can see the timer, but we've
No,
got
it's fine.
2 minutes 40.
2 minutes. We
Are
got
we
perfect.
cruising?
Yeah, we're cruising. I think it's just interesting to go from a young gym boot and, like you say, the full supplement, and you'll pretty much take whatever. Yeah, but is it going to get me big? Like, yeah, but you're going to have
Yeah,
heart problems in 10 years. Yeah, but is it going to get me big? Am I going to get there? And I
yeah,
think obviously having kids and priorities changing, and looking that you can't just come home and sleep. Coming back to the hangover, we don't have Saturdays to just sleep off a Friday night hangover. And
absolutely. Yeah,
I think that all falls into having to have this energy, and you start to realize how important health is. And it's just funny that this is not what the old bullies, because we're not old bullies, but this is what the old bullies have been saying all along, that health's the most important.
exactly.
Get
Yeah,
your supplements and your vitamins from your food as much as possible. We're like, what do you know? Give us more bologna and let's get huge. Give me another scoop of that pre-workout, bro. And I'm Mr. Supplement. I love supplements. I love what it can give you. But if you're taking a lot of if caffeine, you're gonna pay for it later in the road. I'm gonna segue quickly into our last question. You have 1 minute 30 to answer.
okay.
Where to next for Nicholas Pereira? 1 year and 5 years time.
Um, yeah, geez, doing more of the same, sticking to the same values and principles that got us to where we are now. I think that's the short-term goal, and enjoying the process maybe a little bit more, being a bit more appreciative of when I pitch up at the office and like, we built this. Before it was this was nothing. This was an empty shell. Look what you've done, etc. Long term, I'd love to get into the international sports physio scene as a professional clinician myself. So yeah, watch this space. It's something that I'm trying to work towards, and I believe it will work out. So yeah, in a nutshell, those two.
Perfect. Nick, thank you so much for your time, bro. I know you've got another meeting now. This has been the takeover from D-Roo on Enhanced Physiotherapy vlogcast, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll chat soon, bro.
Thanks, Drew. Looking forward to another one.
Cheers, PZ. Cheers, boy.